Hi ladies, 7:30, I made it. I hope you're all doing well. As promised, I said I would pop in and give you a bit of background about me. I'm aware that some of the ladies in the group know me really well, might have worked with me or known me for quite a long time, but some of you don't know me at all. It's great to have you here, but it'd be rude of me not to introduce myself. So obviously I'm Stephanie. Author of There Is No Magic Button. I've also created an online self-help program. I am passionate about supporting anyone really to be able to reduce, gain control or stop their bad habits or addictions. Now, I have worked for the last 10 or 11 years with men and women and children and families, anyone really, around, and that's been around drugs and alcohol, but I am specialising now with women and alcohol because mostly that's most of the clients that I get, and also I'm a woman, so that seems to work really well. And I'm really even more passionate, I suppose that's taken up a bit more level, that particularly for women, that you understand about alcohol and how damaging it can be for you, for your health and your emotional health. But not only that, I know personally, through my own personal experience and working with thousands of people, how amazing your life can be when you stop drinking. I don't want to get all evangelical about it, but I do feel quite passionate about it. So, give you a bit of background then. I'll try not to waffle on too much because I am 48, so I could go on forever, and there has been a lot that's happened. I've had a very, very varied life. Some of it good, some of it not so good. But the reasons why I'm here today. So, I would probably say from being a teenager up until Christmas 2005, which was my rock bottom, my life was very up and down. It was a roller coaster, and I wasn't really paying attention. I think I had moments where I paid attention and I tried to figure stuff out, but it didn't. The penny didn't drop. I sort of explain it like a pinball. So I was bouncing from one disastrous event to another. Now, it wasn't all bad, and I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this. You know, there was some really good stuff in there as well. I had a lot of fun, but at times my behaviour was really, really bad, and I take full responsibility for that. Now, because I was very up and down, drinking, taking drugs, partying, working hard, looking after kids, I made a lot of bad choices, bad decisions. A lot of that is around relationships as well. Again, I'm sure you ladies can relate to that. And I know from when I stopped drinking and stopped taking any drugs, how wasn't just stopping, I worked on myself a lot, but my emotions are nowhere near as much of an issue as they were for me back then. I'm nowhere near as emotional, nowhere near as impulsive. The clarity of thought is phenomenal, and that was quite early on actually, I've got to say. I think it was probably in the first few months. It's hard to remember, it's 10 or 11 years ago now. But yeah, the clarity of thought, the knowing who I am, but part of that is doing the work on myself. So like I said, it wasn't all bad. There was some really, you know, great parts in that as well, but obviously some really, really bad. So it's that extremes as well. And things got really difficult with a divorce and a very, very difficult relationship and custody battles and things like that. And that's when I was drinking a lot and using a lot, and that's when I got arrested, which was my rock bottom, most definitely. And in that moment, well, it was a 12-hour moment, let's be honest, it was maybe longer than that, blocked out of my memory, it's so awful. I had a moment where I knew that, because I was obviously going through my head like, oh my god, this is, once I'd calmed down, which took some time, just figuring out how I'd got there. And in my head, I was like playing all these different scenarios, different things that had happened, and the common denominator was me. So I totally got in that cell just before Christmas that my life was 100% my responsibility. So no one was coming to save me. They definitely weren't. No one had even got close. And the only way that was going to change is if I really got a grip and sorted myself out, which is what I did. Now, just before that happened, which sort of gives you a sense of how incongruent my life was, I'd managed to source my own funding. I'd already been doing quite a bit of training off and on anyway around coaching and NLP, not a huge amount, just introduction stuff. I'd managed to get the money together to go and do my NLP practitioner. Now, it wasn't one of these 5-day NLP practitioners pay loads of money and you get your certification. It was a year, and it was, you know, lots of learning, lots of practice, lots of observation, that type of stuff. It was brilliant. And I'd literally just started that. So when I got into trouble, I called up my trainer because I knew that he knew. I knew that he had clocked me on the first day training. I could just tell he'd got my number completely. And I knew it was okay just to call him up and just say, look, you know, I'm in trouble. I keep getting into trouble. It's like I'm on some sort of crazy self-sabotage mission, and it's got to stop. You know, not only am I putting myself at risk, I'm putting lots and lots of other people at risk, and that's not okay. And he was like, right, I'm coming to see you. Came to see me. We did a session, an NLP coaching session, which was amazing. And then obviously I went on to do my NLP practitioner, which was probably another 9 months at that point. So I was highly motivated. I had a lot to lose. I was looking at losing my house, my job, my children, which I'd worked so hard to hang on to. And also I had somebody who was very knowledgeable and very supportive that was willing to support me, to help me to be a better person. So I did my training. So it wasn't just that I gave up, it was then that I went on to apply myself, to learn about myself, to make myself better. And this is when I talk about by design. Obviously you can't control your life, and there are things in your life that you can't do anything about, but you can do something about you, and that's what I did. And I did my NLP practitioner and engaged and continued to engage in my personal and professional development after that. I would go so far as to say for the last 10 or 11 years I have been 100% committed to that, and I think that's one of the big things that's made a difference for me. Obviously there's lots of other stuff in there as well, you know, the fact that I love dancing and I love music, you know, that type of thing. Now that isn't to say that my life instantly got better, because it certainly did not. Now, because of my behaviour and the things that I'd done and just this chaos that had happened in my life, I think it took a good 4, 5, 6 years before I sort of came out the other side. Now I know it's not like that for everyone, and I don't want anybody to think, oh my god, I can't possibly wait till my life gets better. But there were things in my life that I couldn't control, that were repercussions of bad decisions that I'd made years before. So, you know, custody battles, those types of things really, and difficult, extricating yourself from difficult relationships, shall we say. But what was really amazing was not being under the influence of anything whilst dealing with those really difficult situations. Although it was incredibly difficult and at times brought me to my knees, I not in the dark moments obviously, but in the moments where I felt like I could manage, I would be saying to myself, thank God you're not pissed or off your head, Chivers, because everything would have just been 100 times worse. And I know it would have been 100 times worse. It would have just horrendous. I can't even begin to think. I don't think I would be here. So there's my own journey, but then I applied myself and did the training, and then I went to work with lots of different people. So I have worked in alcohol services, drug and alcohol services, I've worked in family services, I've worked in prisons, children's homes, all around the specialism around drugs and alcohol. Hi Mel, hi Julie, hope you're okay, nice to see you. So the other thing is, it's not just about my journey, it's what I've learned working with thousands and thousands of people, training loads of workers, GPs, social workers, that type of thing. And it's not one thing that works. So different people who've worked with me will know that I work with people holistically. I look at what's happening for them and I make suggestions based on what works for them, and that you know that as well. So for some people that are having a really serious problem, it is about building that program in, you know, maybe 12-step, maybe some one-to-one coaching, some online stuff, some forums, you know, going to the gym, reading books. You know, there's so many different things that you can do to help yourself, as I'm sure you are aware. And some people can just stop and they're fine and they just move on, and that's great. And then for lots of other people, it's everything in between. And that's one of the reasons why I've set up this group. There's lots of reasons actually. I've got a thing about women supporting each other. I think there is a lot of strength in us supporting each other. I think we have some varied life experiences. You know, in this group there will be someone that understands what you're going through. There will be someone that can give you some advice. And I think that's really important. One of the most important things you can do for yourself, hi Sue, in the early days, as most of you will know because I bang on and on and on about it, is to eat healthy food, is to sleep, is to be nice to yourself. You know, I think I spent the first year, and that doesn't mean that you have to do this, I think I spent the first year with head down, very focused on health, very focused on me, very focused on my children, very focused on, okay, let's get this sorted. You know, if I'm strong, then everything else is easier. Not that it was, but it definitely made it a lot easier. So focusing on my health and fitness has always been really important, and it works. I see it work a lot for people. And the other thing I see working a lot for people is having something to do for them that they love, that they're passionate about, having a reason to live for. It's really, really important. So that's just a little snippet. I won't keep going on. I do go into detail a little bit more in the book, I think. I can't remember, it's been a while since I read it. But I am here. Please ask me questions. I'm in the group every day. There are, as I said, there are some amazing women in this group, some really varied experience, and it is very non-judgmental. You know, if you want to do a weekend, great. If you want to do a week, great. If you want to do a year, brilliant. If you want to do the rest of your life, fantastic. It doesn't matter, it's about what works for you. So if there's anything you need, any ideas, Q&A sessions, stuff like that, I'm sure we'll talk about it a bit more. But I'll stop going on for now. And also, the other thing is, if anybody else wants to do videos rather than post, feel free. It doesn't just have to be me. So that's it for now. Nice to see you guys. I hope you found that useful, and see you soon. Bye.